Hello everyone, Victor here, and recently, and I mean very recently, I did my first Pokemon Nuzlocke. Now, I have attempted Nuzlockes in the past before, but they're all randomizers, and I finally did my first normal one, which I probably should have done first. Anyways, if you don't know what a Nuzlocke is a set of self-proposed rules that are meant to make Pokemon games more challenging. These rules include the following. 1. If your Pokemon faints, it is considered dead and must be permanently boxed or released. I chose the permanently boxed option so I can keep track of my deaths. And just kind of be like, okay, I had those guys. 2. You can only catch the first Pokemon you encounter on each route. So if you fail it, you run out of Pokeballs, you kill it, it runs away, you run away, you don't get a Pokemon for that area or route. 3. You must nickname every Pokemon so that you kind of have more of an emotional attachment to them. I don't know why that's a thing, but I get it. Some people get like super duper attached to these things through names. Not me. I get attached to them through using them a lot. So if I get a Pokemon, it dies really early. Boo-hoo. And 4. If you lose a battle, you lose the Nuzlocke, even if you have Pokemon in your box already. And I also have some added rules that are common, but not in everyone's. The first of these rules is Dupe's Clause, which if you don't know, Dupe's Clause means that if your first encounter is a Pokemon you already have, or a part of that Pokemon's evolutionary line, you can get another encounter until you get a new encounter. So if you have a Pidgey and then you encounter another Pidgey, you can go get something else. This also includes the evolutionary line. So if you have a Pidgey and you encounter a Pidgeot, then you don't have to catch that Pidgeot. The second rule is the Shiny Clause, which means I can catch any shiny Pokemon no matter what. It's just something they have in there so that you don't miss out on, very rare Pokemon. And finally, this is one of the more common rules, but not everyone uses it. The Nuzlocke does not start until you obtain Pokeballs, which again is not used for everyone, but it might as well be everyone. So the Pokemon game I decided to Nuzlocke was Pokemon Heartgold, because 1, I love Johto games. Johto's my favorite region. It has my favorite Pokemon in there. And 2, you cannot die from overworld poison. Now, if you want to watch the entire series, it's on my YouTube. It's 17 episodes. Each of them are around 20 minutes. I think there's 2 30-minute videos in there. So that's about 6 hours of content right there if you want to go watch that. But this is a simplified version, so you don't have to watch all the extra stuff. So if you are new, like and subscribe, and let's get started. So I sped runs talking to my mom, and I quickly headed to Professor Elm's lab to see what he had in store for me, which was, of course, the Cyndaquil thing, and Totodile on Chikorita. I chose Cyndaquil and named it Inferno because it is a fire tornado thing. It spins, flame wheel, and all that good stuff. Yeah, I cannot name things. So I then headed to Mr. Pokemon's house and back and challenged my rival to a fight, and I swiftly defeated him because I was 3 or 2 levels higher. He then dropped his ID right in front of me, which is terrible criminal, by the way. So after that, I headed back to Professor Elm lab, where I got accused of being the person who stole the stuff, which Professor Elm did not stick up for me. Thank you, Mr. Helpful. So I named it Subscribe, because you should subscribe right now. And I went to do the catching tutorial, which I did not need. I obtained Pokeballs and went to catch my first encounter, which I did not run into a Pokemon throughout that whole grass, so I had to backtrack to get my first Pokemon, which was a Sentret. I quickly caught this Sentret, and I named it Walk, because of that one thing where it was live stream walking until Gen 4 Remix come out. I'm sure that guy was disappointed. I then headed up to Route 30 and got my encounter, which was a Pidgey, which I named Starman because he flies and he gave my early route encounters hope after that Sentry encounter. I then had to go to battle my way to Route 31 to catch a Caterpie. I named this Caterpie Bum Ba Bum as a reference to my singing monsters because my friend played that a lot. I then went to the Dark Cave, I think that's what it's called, and I caught myself a Geodude, which I named Dwayne. I later discovered that Dwayne was spelt with a Y, but who cares? It's all over now. Let's just go back to the Violet City. If you don't know, Primo can give you 3 eggs if you input the right codes, and that all depends on like your trainer ID or something. So I plugged into this website, which allowed me to see what the code for the egg was. Now, I technically could have gotten 3 different eggs for these Pokemon, but I decided that I was only going to stick with 1 static encounter per area, just like a Nuzlocke, and I had decided I was only going to get 1 of these eggs. So I talked to Primo, and I got myself the Mareep egg, which I did not hatch right away for some reason, and I began grinding for the Violet City Gym. During this grinding, Caterpie had evolved into Metapod, which I was pretty excited about because it was my first evolution of the Nuzlocke. So yeah, we had a Metapod now. Woo. I then saw that I couldn't challenge the Violet Gym until I defeated the Sprout Tower. And I didn't want to go into the Sprout Tower until nighttime, so I elected to wait. During nighttime, I encountered a Ghastly, which was level 3. I swiftly caught it and named it Bowl because bowling ball. You know, stuff like that. I quickly benched Sentret for this Ghastly because Ghastly is like way better than Sentret. And I did not want Sentret on my team. I then battled my way through the Sprout Tower and decided to take on the Elder because I needed 1 to TM for Flash and 2 to take on the gym. I led with Bowl against his first Bellsprout. I healed up Inferno fully and then sent him in to quickly deal with the Bellsprout. After that, he sent in Hoot Hoot, to which I sent in Dwayne. And Dwayne did not have a rock move, so this battle was not as easy as I had hoped. I quit, though Dwayne was eventually able to take him out. He then sent in his final Bellsprout. I sent in Metapod in order to take care of him. Mostly because I wanted Metapod to level up and evolve. Metapod was eventually able to take him out. And he did level up and evolve in the process. So I had a Butterfree now, which was really good for this early in the playthrough. I don't think people know how good Butterfree is this early in the playthrough. I hatched a Mareep egg, and I named it Lightning. Because Queen, and it was an electric Pokemon. I then fought my way to Faulkner. And when he sent out his Pidgey, I sent out Lightning because I was switch training him. So I then put Dwayne in, who quickly took care of the Pidgey with the Rock Throw. I trained them all up to 11 for the purpose of having Rock Throw. He sent in Pidgeotto. I sent Lightning back out for a short period of time before sending Geodude back in. And he took care of the Pidgeotto with 2 Rock Throws. One, which took a lot more than half, so I knew the second one would kill. Dwayne was below half health, but I thought of losing him never occurred to me. I then I got the badge from him. He was mad that I beat his weak bird Pokemon. He gave me the TM for Roost, and I was quickly out of there. I benched Pidgey because I wanted to go get the Togepi egg, which Professor Elm had called me about. So I quickly headed over to the Pokemart in order to talk to the professor's assistant. And that is where I found out my mom was spending my money without my permission. So, after that discovery, I talked to the assistant and received the Togepi egg. And it was time to head out to Route 32, in which I caught a Bellsprout. I named that Bellsprout PVZ because of Plants vs. Zombies. Because I like Plants vs. Zombies. I then caught a Zubat in the Union Cave. And I named it Zubatman, which is an MJ TV reference. There's a lot, as you know, from Dwayne and everything, and I'm a real big fan of that guy. I picked the wrong fight with a hiker. Luckily, I got out of there with no casualties, and I realized I had nothing to fight rock and ground type Pokemon, which was a problem I would address later. So I then did not catch anything on Route 33 after making it out the Union Cave. I saw Team Rocket shove this old man. I don't know if they shoved him or punched him. Something happened. I then talked to Kurt, and he decided he was going to take care of the Team Rocket situation himself. I then made my way to the Slowpoke well, in which I battled my way through a few grunts first. I then caught a Slowpoke in the Slowpoke well. I named the Slowpoke Lacking because it was lacking the shelter on its tail that it gets when it turns into a Slowbro. I then started my battle against Proton, the Team Rocket admin, and Butterfree decided to sweep him because he had poison types, and we had confusion. Cyndaquil then evolved into Quillarva while training for the gym, and now it was my first starter evolution, which I was excited about. Then Togepi hatched from the egg, and I named him Togepi because that was another MNJ TV reference. Then I discovered that my guy had Pokerus. Pokerus, if you didn't know, is a virus that makes your Pokemon stats increased as you level up. So when you level up, instead of raising by like 2 or 3 points, it will raise by like 4 or 5. Basically just a small boost for your Pokemon leveling up. It's very rare to get, and it randomly happens. Then Lightning evolved into Flaffy, and I was feeling pretty good because of all the evolutions. And then it was time to take on Bugsy. So he led with Scyther, and I led with Dwayne. I used Rock Throw to hit whatever came in for him, which missed. And then I decided to go Rock Polish so that I could outspeed Scyther the next time it came out, and Metapod couldn't really do anything. So after Rock Polishing 3 times, I finished off the Metapod, and when he sent out Scyther, Rock Throw O-Code, which I was very proud about. I then then he tried to learn Self-Destruct, which not going to happen here. I sent in Quillarva to finish off his last Pokemon, which is Kakuna, and we got the Hive Badge secured. The next stop, I bought a bunch of Repels. I had bought the Repels because I wanted a Heracross. And if you don't know, the only way to get Heracross this early in the game is in either the Ilex Forest, Route 33, or Azalea Town. So I wanted to use Repels throughout my journey through the Ilex Forest so that I had a higher chance of encountering Heracross. After heading to the Ilex Forest, I was reminded that I have a rival battle with Subscribe, which because you subscribe. Butterfree took out his Ghastly swiftly. Then I sent in Flaffy to take on his Croconaw, which took a bit more attacks than I like. I did have to go Thunder Wave because of how it was making me super slow. But after a couple Thunder Shocks, I finished off the Croconaw. And then the most annoying part of the battle came. It's a Zubat. Who would have thought? I tried to use Thunder Shock, but I hurt myself in Confusion 2 times in a row. The Confusion snapped out of it. And when I tried to finish, I healed up just to make sure that I didn't die. And when I tried to use Thunder Shock, I hit myself in Confusion again before I was finally able to finish him off with Thunder Shock. In the Ilex Forest, I helped this guy with his Farfetch'd because they ran away. I don't know. And then I found the Headbutt guy, and I taught Headbutt to Togepi because it's Togepi. I go and join here because I was like, should I? And I'm like, nah. My Headbutt encounter was a Hoothoot, which I named 360. Don't know why. My Headbutt encounter in Azalea Town was a Spearow, which I named Red because of the Angry Bird. I then struggled for a little bit before finding a Heracross on Route 33. And I had to sack Togepi in order to get, because it was being difficult with catching. But I sent in Butterfree and I caught it. And I named it Champion because I named all my Heracrosses Champion. It's just something I've been doing since I was a kid. After making it out of the Ilex Forest, I caught a Rattata on the route above. I forgot the name of the route, and I appropriately named it Pest. I left Zubat and Plants vs. Zombies in the daycare. I got the radio card upgrade from the radio station after Whitney. I taught Heracross Focus Blast, and it was finally time to take on Whitney. And Whitney, everyone says she's the hardest gym leader. And personally, I've never had any trouble with her. I've played through like five playthroughs to where I just breeze past her. So why would this time be any different? Why would the one time I can't lose Pokemon be any different than the other times? It ain't nothing different, right? Right? After I struggled with her Clefairy with Inferno for a bit before switching in Butterfree in order to finish it off. After that, she sent out the Dasherly Miltank, in which I Thunder Waved. I had to do it twice because it had a Lumberry. And then I had sent in Dwayne to take care of the Miltank. What I did not account for was Attract. Geodude was barely able to get any damage off, and when he did get big damage, it was canceled out by Milk Drain. Or Milk Drink. So after a bit of this struggling, I realized Geodude couldn't last much longer. I switched into Butterfree, hoping to do something, but unfortunately Butterfree was crit 1. Okay, this was going worse than I thought, but it's fine. All I have to do is send in, it's paralyzed, I just have to send in a female Pokemon so that it can't attract me, and I will be all good. Yeah, that wasn't happening. So after a bit more struggling, I decided to swap in Bowl to try to see if I could do anything. And what I didn't know at the time, at least, is that Miltank had the ability Scrappy, which, if you don't know, Scrappy, I don't know the specifics, but it allows normal type Pokemon to hit ghost types with normal type moves. Yeah. So after struggling a bit, Miltank took out Bowl, and it had beat up a bunch of my teams because I had regrettably switched a lot. So I brought in Lightning to Thundershock it, and I thought I would get out with two Pokemon, my starter and Heracross, but she super potioned. So after two magnitudes, Geodude went down. I sent an Inferno to see if I could one-shot it with Ember. Hopefully I could, and I could not. Inferno was taken down. I sent in Heracross as my last resort, and it hit the Focus Blast, ending the battle. So, spoiler alert here. I lost a total of 9 Pokemon in this playthrough. That doesn't include the red. I lost 2 during the red battle, but it would have ended right then and there, so I don't count those. But I lost 9 total Pokemon. 5 to Whitney's Miltank. The first time I have ever lost a Pokemon to Whitney's Miltank. So I had rebuilt the team, and the team was now Pest, PVZ, Lacking, Zubatman, Starman, and Champion. PVZ quickly evolved because I leveled everyone up to level 20, so level 21 wasn't too far away. I then caught a Pinsir in the bug catching competition. I named this Pinsir Loser because it had lost because it was not at full HP, which I was very mad about. Then Zubatman evolved while going to Sudowoodo. And then while struggling to catch Sudowoodo, it killed PVZ, which for some reason at the time I was not too fazed by, despite that being a great Pokemon to have had. Though I moved on, I caught it and named it SITM, which stood for Stick and Mud because it was a pain in my ass to catch. I got the Rock Smash TM from that guy to the right. I then tweaked the team between episodes and added a Nidoran that I caught in the route between the Goldenrod City and the Pokemon bug catching competition. I caught a Coughing in the Burn Tower and I named it Kaminga. And the A's coming. Don't worry, guys. I'm gonna put the A on there. It's not what it looks like. I put Kaminga like the Golden State guy. Don't worry. I then caught a Growlithe on the route before Ekritik and named it Obamna. My names were kind of silly at this point because, as you can see, I was with my friend. I ran into my rival at the Burnt Tower and fought him in a battle because you should subscribe, and his name was Subscribe. Look at him looking in the camera. He sent out Ghastly, and he proceeded to kill itself. I then used Lacking to deal with the Zubat because I had Confusion. Then Chest Day dealt with his Magnemite pretty quickly. And then finally, Heracross came in and finished up the Croconaw. The Subscribe was defeated once again. I then scared off the legendary Pokemon. And then I found Entei, which I couldn't catch because it was in the route before Ekritik. I was training. And it's not like I was going to catch it anyway. I then caught an Execute by headbutting in Ekritik City. And I named it as I saw it. I then challenged the gym leader Morty to a battle. I didn't have any clear answers for his ghost type, but Lacking one-shot the Ghastly. And I tried to do the same to the Haunter, but Hypnosis changed my plans pretty quickly. After struggling for a bit, Zubatman one-shot him. I kept Zubatman in against his Gengar. When after I just confused rate him at first, he tried to Hypnosis me. He hurt himself, and my bites were just too much for the Gengar to handle, and he was swiftly taken down. I don't know why he tried mean look there. But then he sent out his last Haunter, and Zubatman quickly dispersed this guy as well. And it took a couple tries because of healing. I then caught a Magnemite on the route to the left of Ekritik, which I should have added to the team. I named it Electron. I should have added it to the team, but I didn't for some reason. I then went to Olivine to where my rival told me that the gym leader was not at her gym and in the lighthouse. And after trying to see what I could get from the lighthouse by just going up the elevator, I had fought my way up to Jasmine to where she told me I need to get medicine from Cianwood. I backtracked to Ekritik City to get the Surf TM because I had failed to do so when I first came. I caught a Magikarp on Route 41 by fishing, and I named it Backup because I would need it in case Slowpoke died. I then caught a Tentacruel on Route 42, which I named Y because I really wanted a Mantine. I then failed my Staryu encounter on Cianwood, and I fought this mystery man after scaring off Suicune once again. He led with Drowsy and I led with Chest Day, and I thought Chest Day could take him on, but he couldn't, so I switched him out and I finished him off with Lacking. He sent in Electrode and I sent in Heracross because Heracross was my strongest Pokemon, and no one else knew ground moves, but Heracross crit one-shot him with Brick Break, which made me very happy. I sent Zubatman in against Haunter, and Zubatman swiftly finished him. I then fought Chuck, and I sent in Heracross to start off against his Primeape, and Heracross crit one-shots him. So I decide, Heracross, you can stay in against Poliwrath, just kind of keep your ball rolling, because I originally intended to switch Slowpoke in. Heracross swiftly took care of that as well, and we got Fly from seeing Chuck's wife. We gave the medicine to Jasmine, we headed for the Safari Zone, where I caught a Machop during the cave. I forgot the name of the cave. I named it Man because it was a man. I then fought this couple that had odd Pokemon. And then on Route 46, I caught a Gloom, which I named Timmy. That's just the name that popped into mind at the time. I failed my Drowsy encounter at the Safari Zone, then headed back to Olivine City in order to face Jasmine. Heracross OHKO'd both of her Magnemites and almost took down the Steelix until it was almost killed by an Iron Tail. So I swapped in Lacking to finish the job, and we finished the battle, earning our 6th gym badge. We caught an Apom headbutting the trees to the right of Ekritik City, and we named this Apom Swiper. I should have named it Boots, but I did not, so we're moving on. Lacking then evolved into Slowbro, which I was so glad to have. It was lacking strength, but now it's not. Then on Route 43, Pidgeotto evolved into Pidgeot. Then we encountered the red Gyarados, which I swiftly caught and named Grace because it gracefully destroyed villages. and I attained the red scale, which I would use to get the experience share later. I then talked to Lance, and he told us to meet in the Hogging Town shop to take it down. He hyper beamed a guy, and then we invaded the Team Rocket base that was underneath. After finding the Team Rocket admin Petrel, he led with his Zubat, and I led with Chesday, who swiftly took it out. Then when he sent out Coughing, I sent in Stick in the Mud instead of Lacking, because Stick in the Mud could take the explosions better. Then I kept Stick in the Mud in to finish off Eradicate with low kicks. This ended the battle, and we followed the Murkrow to the generator room, where it opened the door for us. We then had a double battle with Lance against another Team Rocket admin, where we swiftly dispersed of them too, and then got through all 3 electrodes without having an explosion. I then headed to fight Price, which I O-code sealed with 1 Brick Break. He then sent in Dugong, which I also O-code with 1 Brick Break. And then he sent in Piloswine, which I also O-code with 1 Brick Break. Champion was becoming the clear ace of the team, and he learned Close Combat, which I replaced Focus Blast with. I then headed to the radio tower in order to try to take down Team Rocket with Disguise, but my rival quickly outed me, rudely, might I say, and so I had to battle. I then outed Patrol as his disguise of the Director, and fought him. His first Coughing I took out was Zubatman, which was now a Crobat. I then took out his 3 following Coughings with Stick in the Mud. 4 Coughings in 1 fight is diabolical, just saying. Then I went to the underground warehouse to where I fought my rival once again. He had Golbat, which I O-code with Zen Headbutt. Then he brought Haunter, which Zubatman O-code with Bite. Then he brought Magnemite, which Champion O-code with Brick Break. Then he brought Feraligatr, which Champion took care of. And then he brought out Sneasel, which Champion O-code. Then I almost died to a random Coughing's explosion, which would have killed me had I been 1 to 2 levels lower. I then rescued the Director, and he gave me the key to the Rocket Tower. I fought Proton once again. He led with Weezing, which Lacking took care of, and I quickly finished him off. I then fought Ariana, who led with Arbok, which Starman struggled to take out, but eventually ended up doing. Murkrow was taken out by Stick in the Mud, and Zubatman took out the Vileplume. I then had my fight with Archer. Houndour was defeated by Starman. His Coughing was defeated by Lacking in 2 hits, which kind of disappointed me. And Stick in the Mud, after some struggle, managed to take down the Houndoom. I saved the Director, and he gave me the Rainbow Wing, which I would use. I caught a Poliwhirl, which I wanted to name Ray Lewis, but I accidentally named Lay Ruler. I caught a Swinub in the Ice Cave, which I named Nice. I then headed to Blackthorn City to take on Claire, the final gym leader. She led with Gyarados, which Stick in the Mud was able to take out because of its lack of water moves. She then sent in her Kingdra, which I sent in Starman to deal with, but Hydro Pump did way more than I was comfortable with. So I ended up switching, and there was a choice between Zubatman and Champion. I ended up sending in Zubatman, who did not take a Hydro Pump well either, but I decided to heal him up in hopes that Hydro Pump would miss. It did not, so I had to heal yet again, and she hit a 3rd Hydro Pump in a row. So I decided to send in Nidorino in order to take a Hydro Pump, but a crit killed it. So I had to send in Heracross in order to finish this off with an Aerial Ace. She then sent in her first Dragonair, which I finished off with Lacking. And I tried to do the same to the second Dragonair, but I missed the Zen Headbutt, which wasn't helping. So after a while, I just sent in Heracross to finish it off with Close Combat. She decided not to give me the gym badge since she was whining, and I replaced Nidorino with Nice, though I quickly removed it again in order to get the Dragonair. I sped through a question on the test, which caused me not to get the Extreme Speed Dragonair, so I ended up not using it. I then headed back to Professor Elm's lab to get the Master Ball. I fought the Kimono Girls without any deaths. I caught Ho-Oh in a Master Ball. And then I named the Ho-Oh Easy because the Master Ball made it easy to catch. This is where I started to figure out what my final team was, as I held multiple polls on my different socials to see what people would want as their team. It was decided that Ho-Oh and Swineup would be joining the team, so I headed east from my hometown to get to the Victory Road, to which I ran into my rival Subscript for the last time while I was there. He led with Sneasel, which I quickly O-code with Champion's Brick Break, then sent in Goldback, which Stick in the Mud took care of. He then sent in Feraligatr, which Champion also took care of, and after a struggle, Lacking took care of Kadabra. Lacking tried to take care of Haunter, but I switched out as to not risk anything and took the Haunter out with Zubatman. And he sent in Magneton, which was promptly O-code by Close Combat on Champion. After this, I was deciding that I had to grind up for the Pokemon League and evolved Nice into Mamoswine. And the grinding began. After grinding all my Pokemon up to level 50, it was finally time to take on the Pokemon League. My first opponent was Will, who led with Xatu. I led with Stick in the Mud and promptly O-coded it with Rock Slide. Next, after a bit of struggling, Lacking took out his Slowbro. Then Stick in the Mud O-coded his second Xatu. Easy O-code his Jinx. And while Batman struggled with the Exeggutor, I decided to switch him out and finish off the Exeggutor with Easy. And now we won the battle. Our second Elite Four member was Koga, who led with Ariados, which Zubatman took care of. Then he sent out Venomoth, which Zubatman also took care of, but not before taking some damage. Then he sent out Fortress, who Easy O-code. Then he sent out Muck, who a nice O-code with Earthquake. And finally, he sent out Crobat, who Lacking was able to take care of with 2 Zen Headbutts, despite him using Double Team. We had won our second Elite Four battle. The third battle was against Bruno, who led with Hitmontop, but after one attack, he switched out to Onyx, who we took out with Lacking, of course. Next was Hitmonchan, which we took out with Easy. Then was Machamp, who I decided to take out with Lacking because I was worried about No Guard. After 2 Zen Headbutts later, Lacking was able to take down the Machamp. He sent Hitmontop back out, and after a turn of healing, Batman took down Hitmontop. He sent out his final Pokemon, Hitmonlee, who was quickly O-coded by Zubatman. Our third Elite Four battle was done. Finally, it was Karen. Karen led with Umbreon, which Champion O-coded with Close Combat. Then she sent out Murkrow, which Stick in the Mud O-coded with Rock Slide. Next, she sent out Vileplume, who Zubatman took care of, but not before being paralyzed. Next, she sent out Houndoom, who Champion took care of. That was a risky move by me. And then she sent out her Gengar, which I thought Nice could take care of pretty easily, but something I didn't expect happened. I don't like you. Woo! 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 Imagine if I had lost Mamoswine on the Pokemon before Lance. Now it was time for Champion Lance. He led with Gyarados, which I tried to whittle down with Lacking, but I got a yawn off on this Dragonite he switched in, which allowed me to switch in Mamoswine as his Dragonite fell asleep. Mamoswine quickly O-coded the Dragonite to where he sent out Gyarados again, and after a bit of struggle, Lacking finally finished the job. He sent out his second Dragonite, which Nice was able to also O-code with Avalanche. Then next he sent out Charizard, which Stick in the Mud O-code. Then he sent out his final Dragonite. Now this Dragonite worried me because it had Fire Blast. And I was worried that I would get O-code before I was able to attack it. Woo! Woo! I'm so glad I chose Nice. Next he sent out Aerodactyl, which Lacking was able to one-shot. And I was finally the Pokemon champion. After registering my team in the Hall of Fame, this is the team that allowed me to do so. But we're not stopping there. I then traveled to Kanto and immediately took on Lieutenant Surge. Mamoswine was able to sweep basically his entire team, but I did swap him out on the Electabuzz as I feared a fighting type move, and after a bit of paralysis struggle, Heracross was able to take him out. Next was Erica, who Zubatman O-code Jumpluff, and Easy pretty much swept the rest of the gym, winning me my second Cantonian gym badge and my 10th overall gym badge. Next, I caught the Snorlax outside of Vermilion City, and I named it Case for obvious implications. I had replaced Ho-Oh with Snorlax because it provided me a solution for Sabrina. who was next. Sabrina led with Espeon, and I led with Case, and Case showed why he was the superior choice to take on this gym. He dealt over half of their health, and I took only half of my health from a boosted Psychic. Snorlax then proceeded to sweep the gym and finish off Alakazam with the crit crunch. Next, I took on Brock, and he led with Graveler. I O-code Graveler with the close combat, and I O-code Onix with a close combat. Then Lacking came in and took out the Kabutops with 2 Surfs, and almost died. Heracross then took out Rhyhorn with the close combat. He then almost took out Omnistar with the close combat, and after Brian almost killed me, I decided to keep him in to finish off the Omnistar with 2 Brick Breaks because Brock wanted to heal. That was my next gym badge down. Next was Jamie, which was Koga's daughter. Nice took out Zubat with the Ancient Power, then tanked an Explosion, then swept the gym with Earthquake. Next was Misty, who sent out Golduck, and Case was able to easily take down the Golduck and her Quagsire with Rollout. Next was Starmie, which Case also took out. Then Lapras, which after a whole lot of struggling, Lacking took out with Iron Tail. Next was Blaine. His Cargo was easily O-coded by Lacking. Then I took out his Magmar with Stick in the Mud because it knew Thunder Punch. Then finally I took out his Rapidash, which Lacking, winning me the gym battle. And Lacking finally learned Psychic, which was very useful. Next was my final gym battle with Gym Leader Blue. He led with Machamp, and I mistakenly...
Did I go for Stone? Why did I go for Bite?
Now, this was a huge mistake because, as I mentioned earlier, Machamp has no guard. So even if I went into Fly, Machamp would have still hit me with a Rock-type move, which was kind of ironic considering I feared this earlier in the playthrough, but failed to prepare for it right now. Next, I finished off the Machamp with Lacking with 2 Psychics. Then came Exeggutor. After a very, very long time, I was able to take it out with Snorlax. Then I took out the Arcanine with a Surf from Lacking. Next, I took out Rhyhorn with a Surf from Lacking. Then, after a long struggle with Pidgeot, I took him out with Stick in the Mud. Then, when he sent out Gyarados, Snorlax took him out with a crit Giga Impact. That was kind of scary since he was Dragon Dancing. After winning that battle, I added Oho back to the party and started my long and rigorous training adventure. With every tender little kiss and nothing on but the radio, feel the music playing soft and slow. You and me and the lights down low, with nothing on but the radio. After grinding 2/3 of my team to level 85, it was finally time to take on the final Pokemon battle of the Nuzlocke Pokemon Red. The team, Heracross the Champion, which was the first added team member, Nice the Mamoswine, which helped out with a lot of the dragon types I had to face along the way, Stick in the Mud the Sudowoodo, which helped with a lot of the rock, ice, flying types, Case, the newest member of the team, Ho-Oh, Easy the Ho-Oh, which was the legendary I called my Master Ball, and Lacking the Slowbro, which was the oldest caught team member in the Slowpoke well. And now it's time to figure out some Pokemon Red, which I'll let y'all watch in its entirety right here. Okay, this is final battle with Red. The battle starts. Okay, Red. There's the Pikachu. Here's Nice. The hail starts. Nice is not affected by the hail. Earthquake. You have 200. He missed. So even if I don't OHKO here, I'm safe. Because he has an attack lowering nature. I forgot exactly which nature it was, but he has an attack lowering one. Okay. It's super effective. It's a one-shot. Now, consider I'm a ground type, he's and an ice type, I would assume he would send in Blastoids. Because these CPUs are actually good with sending in against type matchups, depending on what moves their guys have and everything. Blastoid, yeah. Switch Pokemon. Let's go Case. The best thing to do is to spam. I feel like to spam Crunch because Giga Impact, I have to rest. So we want to how much is that gonna do? You have a lot of health. Come on, you can survive a little itty bitty. Oh. I was like, oh, what'd you lower? Special E, that's gonna make it do even more, right? Can I get the defense drop at least? Can I get the defense drop, please? I have the healing. Oh yeah, I have a bunch of heals too. So, I should never be in danger of losing. I don't think this should do much. Because Blizzard doesn't boost the power. The hell doesn't boost the power, right? It just makes sure it always hits. Can I get a defense drop? No, I cannot. I am going to heal this turn. Just playing it safe, making sure I don't... Because I need Blastoids for the Venusaur. I do need the Blastoid. I do need Case for the Venusaur because I don't really have nothing that could take it out. If I would have grinded up Ho-Oh, maybe I could have used that, but really nothing. I don't want to have to. This will do more, but it shouldn't kill me. Yeah, the only thing I'm worried about is really crits. It crit. No, it did not. That's just how much it does. Oh my god. I need you to miss a couple of those. I'm gonna need you to miss a couple of those. Come on, man. I'm in front of my fans. Don't make me heal stall. Okay. I hate how slow this is. Miss your focus blast. No, you're supposed to miss. If it lowers my special defense one more time, I am going to need to switch. Like 160 something, right? To my knowledge, he can only have like 7 or 8 of those. So we should be able to outlast the I know I said I wasn't. How long have we been recording? 11 minutes. I'm going to speed up for the heal stall battle. Just the heal stall battle because this is how we've. Can you stop hitting those? At least miss one. Miss. We both went for the full restore. So we use Blizzard. Can I get the defense drop? Like, damn. That's in KO range. We have to heal. So I think he's out of Focus Blast now. I don't think he should be able to. I forgot. Oh my god. I forgot other moves were possible. Lacking. Hey man, you can tank a hit, right? You can take one hit, right? Hydro Cannon requires a recharge. Venusaur. Snorlax was my Venusaur counter. Nice. No. Oh, everything's going wrong. So I was gonna go for Giga Drain. I'm gonna go for easy. Now it's probably gonna try to kill me, but I'm going to go for healing you. Now I just need to wait for easy to go down, and then yeah, we just lost 2 Pokemon, but that means that Nice can come in, and as long as Sleep Powder... Why does Sleep Powder keep hitting? Woo! Okay. Okay. So Champion can one-shot the, Okay. That was the luck we needed. Switch, yes, stick. Just don't miss. Stick in the mud if you miss. You didn't miss. Okay. We're not speeding up no more. This is the final Pokemon. My ace versus not his ace, but, you know, his Snorlax. Go Horn Attack. How much is this gonna do? Oh! Okay. Okay. And do nothing. So now close combat should kill from this range. I should be up. Come on. One shot. Or, well, it's not one shot, but... come on, keep going, keep going. Whoa! Let's go, Champion. The final hit was with Champion. He no speak. That's right, go home. We're flying home. Oh, okay, it saves automatically. Okay, guys. And that was the story on how I beat my first Pokemon, regular Pokemon Nuzlocke in Pokemon Heartgold. We had a total of 9 deaths before Red, 2 during Red, so in total 11. But if you enjoyed it, like and subscribe. And if you're new, also do that. This is Victor, signing off.